The next tool we're going to go over is the tape measure tool, which can also be used as a scaling tool and also allow you to set guidelines within SketchUp or guides. So let's just get into it right now. The tape measure tool is found here on the toolbar. I use it all the time. Keyboard shortcut is T as in Tom for tape measure, I guess. But go ahead and click on that tape measure and it pulls up a little icon there. To show you how that works, so what you're going to do is you're going to find your first line and you're going to go ahead and click it once, and you see that little dotted line is your guideline. And if we bring it all the way to this first line, we can see that it shows us that we're at 5 feet. If we bring it all the way over here, we're going to be at 13 feet, and then finally at the very end we're at 19 feet. So let's say we wanted to set our guideline, at 2.5 apostrophe feet, and that gives us a halfway distance right here. Or you could actually just find the midpoint by grabbing that guideline and snapping it to a midpoint or an endpoint, or you can just put it wherever you want, but that will show you where the midpoint is of the next line that you're going from line to line here. So really great to get things measured up. I use it for like doors and windows all the time. You can go from the vertical or horizontal. You can even do it right here vertically on this wall, such like this. So you get your first line, come over, let's say we're going to just go 2 feet over, enter, and that would give us a 2 foot spacing in between, and that's our tape measure tool. Super helpful for a lot of things. Like I said, use it all the time. Now, it also is used for scaling, and I'm going to go ahead and delete guides. And to delete those guides, actually that's a good thing to cover. If we go to edit, there's a thing right here, a little button called delete guides, and that just erases all of those marks. None of those lines are going to be in your drawing once you finish it. As far as printing, I don't believe, maybe unless you export it as a 2D, but definitely rendered it won't. Again, this is going to be really helpful for you getting your placements of like doors and windows in line. But yeah, as far as scaling, so I've imported this 2D image of a plan of a property here, and what we know is that the scale here, if we go from 0 to 32, we're at 32 feet. So what we want to do is scale this plan to make sure that it is properly at 32 feet, and I think it is scaled right now. So I'm just gonna make this a little smaller just to kind of show you how this kind of works. But when you bring in plans, when you import them, they're not scaled. So if you wanted to come in here and find the measurement of 125 feet, from, if you take your tape measure and you go from this point, which I think is about right, all the way over to this point, and you click, it's showing at 68 feet right now, so that's not accurate, obviously. So whoops, I'm gonna double click, get out of that. Oh, there we go. So what we're going to do is scale this. So how we do this is we take our tape measure and we grab our first point here, and then we left click, and then we drag our mouse all the way over to the 32 inch or 32 foot mark on our scale. Click it again. Before we do anything else, we type in 32 apostrophe right down at the right hand corner there, hit enter. And what it's going to say is, do you want to resize this model? So basically anything that you've drawn already in this model is going to be scaled at that 32 foot mark. So it's not helpful when you have things in your model already. So if you immediately bring in an import and then you scale it, then you're fine. You don't need to worry about it. But if we do that, I'm going to say yes. So what happens is, everything just got scaled up a lot bigger. So, this box may have been, 3 feet by 3 feet. Now it's, where are we at? 9 foot by 9 foot or so. Yeah, 9'1". So everything got scaled up, but we are scaled, So if we did click this, we should be at 125, I believe. Yeah, close to it. Yeah, 120, 4 almost. So that's about right. This is just a kind of a loose scale here for this image. But to fix that, we can do something different. So I'm going to undo what we just did, and we're still at that 68 foot mark if we double check our scale. Yeah, so 68 feet or so. There is a plugin called Ruby Sketch Scale tool, and you can find that at the extension store. So that's through the Sketchucation extension store. So if we click on our extension store button and then search for it, we can type in Ruby Sketch, and we want to go ahead and download Ruby Sketch Scale tool. So just click on that button there. Right click, for me, I'm just going to right click on my toolbar because I have it loaded already. And I'm going to look for Ruby Sketch right here. And here is that button for it. Came up here on the toolbar. So this is really the only one I use, set the scale of selected entities. So now I can actually scale this with everything in it in the model. So we'll go back here and I'll look. So this measurement, it's okay. So it's 5 feet across is where we're at. Remember, if we just scaled this with a regular tape measure, that would change to 9'1". But we're not going to do that. We're going to actually scale this with that Ruby Sketch Scale tool. So let me just get this kind of lined up here. So we click on that, come in here, click our first point, which is approximately right in here. And we're going to go to this point on that axis, on the red axis, and then we're going to click it again, hit 32, apostrophe, enter, and that scaled us properly. So now we can double check that by just clicking on our tape measure again, and we're going to click right here and find our spot down here, and yeah, 124 is about where we're at. It says 125, but it must be off by a foot or so. But if we go back and check our box, we're still at 5 feet. So Ruby Sketch Scale is awesome. Definitely use that when I have other items in my model that I don't want to, bring out of scale. But you do want to scale that one image. So definitely recommend that extension.